A man who looks like a vet comes in and appears like he's going to help the cow. But unfortunately for dairy cows like her, who are no longer able to make money for dairy farmers, there's only one fate that awaits them.
Do you think it's all about keeping the standards as high as possible?
All farmers and all the M&S dairy farmers have a real connection with their animals.
Hey everyone, welcome to today's video where we'll be analyzing some disturbing footage recently leaked from M&S Select dairy farms, and we'll discuss why these practices are deeply problematic. The activist who brought this footage to light is none other than Joey Carpstrong. If you don't know who Joey is, he's an Australian animal rights advocate and former gang member who turned his life around in 2013. Since then, he's become a prominent voice in the vegan movement, known for his street activism, undercover investigations, and debates on animal welfare, both in public and on television. And he recently released a personal project of his called Pignorant, exposing all the mistreatment that happens to pigs in the meat industry. Go watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. The only thing left for this man to do is to write us a book. What are you waiting for, Joey? So who exactly is M&S Select, and what's so important about this footage taken at this dairy farm? M&S Select is a dairy farm that supplies milk exclusively to Marks & Spencer, or MS, which is a British retailer that claims to be the only retailer in the UK to sell 100% RSPCA Assured milk. So you might be asking, what does 100% RSPCA Assured mean? 100% RSPCA Assured means that all aspects of an animal's life from birth to slaughter meet the highest welfare standards. And what exactly are these high welfare standards? According to the RSPCA, animals must be provided with enough space to move around, a good diet, the ability to exhibit natural behaviors, and careful handling to minimize stress, which we'll specifically see in this video. So let's dig into this undercover investigation and see if the treatment of these animals really is 100% RSPCA Assured.
M&S say they are the only retailer who sell 100% RSPCA Assured milk.
A man who appears to be Charlie Langmead arrives at the farm. He gives two workers directions and then leaves. It's not long before the workers begin breaking so-called RSPCA Assured standards by dragging calves by the tail and even twisting their tails to get the calves to move where they want. Charlie returns to see how things are going. And after he leaves, it's not long before the workers begin acting out their frustration by repeatedly smacking a calf in the face.
You know, some people might try to justify this behavior by saying, oh, you need to do this to a cow to get her to move. The cows are trained like this to be controlled. But I want you to ask yourself, just because you can force a cow to do something, does it make it okay? If harming an animal is the only way to control it, maybe we should question why we're trying to control them in the first place.
And as you'll see by this next character, there's a culture of abuse even in the highest welfare dairy farms. Here, Mr. Angry lunges at a cow with a sharp metal object and stabs them in the hind leg with it. Here, what appears to be the same man is caught hitting cows in the back with a metal floor scraper.
When watching these farmers yelling at cows, hitting and kicking them, it reminds me of insecure, angry people who struggle to deal with their own emotions and like to lash out at the people around them that can't fight back. I rewatched this clip multiple times to try and understand what triggered him to kick this animal, and it's as silly as the cow accidentally kicking some dirt onto him as he passed by. You know, these cows are harmless, and these individuals are taking advantage of that vulnerability, and this kind of reaction highlights the disturbing dynamic in animal agriculture. It's shocking to think that M&S claims to serve RSPCA approved milk, and this raises questions about the standards and enforcement of animal welfare certifications. You know, often it's only when undercover footage like this is released that action is taken. If we really cared about animal welfare, we'd look into abolishing these farming practices altogether and moving towards more ethical alternatives. You know, look at people like Derek Sarno, has done so much as to turn an ex-poultry farm into an amazing vertical mushroom farm. And other farms are leaning more towards vertical farming crops, as well as it leads to not only less crop deaths, but it's also repurposing old and abandoned warehouses. It's more efficient and is a positive direction towards ethical alternatives that don't involve exploiting animals.
One of the saddest parts of the dairy industry is the separation of calves from mothers.
Imagine being a mother cow, being repeatedly forcibly impregnated, only to have your baby taken away each time. You know, this cycle of trauma is heartbreaking, and it's also we can have the milk we put in our coffee or our cereal. You know, Joey Carbstrong actually had an amazing interaction with a group of women around the holidays that perfectly describes the perspective of what these animals go through and portray to the women what it must feel like for a mother cow to experience this.
You eat the milk from the cows?
I think I use cheese, so you can tell me about my cheese consumption. You're allowed to.
Cows always have to have had a baby or be pregnant to produce milk. Yeah. And they have every baby they've ever known taken from them. And that milk is given to human beings. And the cows have maternal trauma. And they say that maternal trauma can be similar to like a physical pain. It's that emotional pain similar to a physical one to lose your child.
Well, it would be. It's like a human, it's like a female.
They're in their stomach
she breastfeeds to her
for
child.
9 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And imagine taking your child away from like a
being
mum.
a child and being taken from your mother as a little toddler. It'd be the most heart-wrenching thing. But they experience that consistently, systematically.
Oh, it's
Do
hard.
you think that's worth cheese?
No, it's not. It's not.
Even in the most highest of welfare dairy farms, calves are stolen from their mothers immediately after birth. And here, overseeing some of the calf stealing, a man who appears to be the farm owner, Chris Bibby. I love working with cows. They are such intelligent and friendly creatures. Mothers chase their newborn calves, and some with the umbilical cord still hanging out of them.
And I know some people might say, oh, you know, we need milk. It's necessary for our nutrition. And others might argue, oh, cows are bred for this purpose. They don't have the same emotions as humans. But do we really need cow's milk? The truth is, there are countless alternatives available that spare these animals from such suffering. So why not explore those options instead?
And no matter the welfare category, wherever animals are treated as property or machines, you'll find instances of abuse. Calves having their tails twisted, animals being slapped, kicked, and dominated.
Knowing that you have a long-term and stable milk price means that you know where and when you can invest in your business, and usually it's investment in the health and welfare of the cows that's important.
It's common on dairy farms for sick or injured cows to collapse. They're often referred to as downers. Here we see how suffering cows are treated on M&S RSPCA Assured dairy farms. This cow has gone down and is being roughly grabbed by the nose and ear to try to coax them up. The cow then collapses. Others are dragged off by their neck or head. Whilst other concerned cows in the herd give chase. Here we see how suffering cows are treated on M&S RSPCA Assured dairy farms. This cow has gone down and is being roughly grabbed by the nose and ear to try to coax them up. The cow then collapses. After a few attempts at lifting this downed cow onto her feet,
Non-vegans will see this kind of treatment of these harmless animals and say things like, oh, an animal's hide is tough, it doesn't hurt them at all. But does the cow's reaction to being slapped show that it doesn't cause discomfort? Even if it didn't hurt physically, which it clearly does, that's why the cow is moving, the psychological impact is undeniable.
a man who looks like a vet comes in and appears like he's going to help the cow. But unfortunately for dairy cows like her, who are no longer able to make money for dairy farmers, there's only one fate that awaits them. This downed cow was shot at close range with a handgun in the head, and if you look closely, they still appear to be moving.
You know, this footage is a stark reminder of the hidden cruelty in the dairy industry. It's time we seriously reconsider our consumption habits and push for genuine animal welfare reforms. Remember, every time we choose plant-based alternatives, we're voting for a kinder world. So tell me, what are your thoughts on this issue? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on animal rights and ethical living, and thanks for watching.
Whether it's M&S Select, Free Range, or RSPCA Assured, the animal welfare movement has clearly failed. It's time animals had rights protecting them from human exploitation. But until then, please remove your support for these industries and live vegan. And please, don't believe the fairy tale advertisements or the industry propaganda. As you have seen, the true reality is what takes place when they think no one is watching.